Hey folks, how you doing? This is Kurt Von Onen here with Manana No Mas, and I'm just playing around in the background with different songs. But hey, here's the deal. Today, as I promised, we're going to go into part two of my personal journey with AI. And as we launch into this journey, as we start talking about some of the things that I've experienced with AI and just different ways to look at it. So let's let's go back to just a little bit of a recap from last week when I said, hey, let's talk about a personal journey with AI. The thing I wanted to avoid was this guru-esque, like, I know everything about AI, I make plugins, I do this, I do that. Watch my genius. That's not the message here. So if that's what you're looking for, move on to some other live stream and see what you want to do there. What I'm really trying to articulate here is I had to start using AI pretty early out of the chute because we were reviewing different tools for different podcasts and things like that. And so right out of the chute, we were like, oh, well, let's take a look at this one. This one does, this one does blog content. This one does titles. This one does keywords for videos. This one does. And as AI grew, and I hate to say it like this, but as AI grew up a little bit, the capacity of different tools also increased. And so where you might have needed a tool for titles and a one for keywords and one for videos and one for, you may have needed all these different tools. Now we're finding that you could pay, you know what, I don't need all these subscriptions. I could come down to, a couple of tools that really nail what I want to do. And then the main question with AI is, well, what do you want to do? And so as I try to introduce some people to AI, I literally came across like this crosshatch where there were some people I met that were all into AI and they were doing crazy cool things. And there were some people I met that were like, I think AI is the devil. I want nothing to do with it. And, I want to stay human and organic. And I'm with you. I'm with you. I completely get that perspective. But if you're a solopreneur, if you're a freelancer, if you're a small business owner, there are some things that you can do with AI in some ways that you can scratch the surface of AI that will really help you and have some ROI, some payback right into things. And so as this part two, as I promised, as this part two comes out this week, one of the things I said was, hey, next week in part two, let's take a look at a real use example of how I leveraged AI and made some changes to see some differences in my business. And so I thought that would be something that I could share with you today. So today's going to be a lot of screen shares. There's not going to be a lot of Opus clips that come out of this because, when you're going from full screen to screen share to stuff, the Opus clips really aren't that high quality for me. And so for folks that kind of watch my content in clips, this is a week where you're probably going to want to watch the full episode to see what's going on. Now, screen sharing is going to be on 3 or 4 different windows and systems today. So last week when we did it, we were screen sharing different things, and we ended up having to do the show, if we're going to call it a show. We did the show twice because in the first run, the screen shares didn't come through. I don't know if it was a problem with StreamYard or what, but when I looked at the replay, the screen shares were blank. So we redid it, and the screen shares worked perfectly in the second run. And so if you saw a replay of screen shares that didn't work, please know that there's another recording of the show from last week that has screen shares in it that everything works and everything is good. And so same as always, what I tell folks is whether you're watching this live or in Memorex, whether you are with me now live or you're watching a replay, take some time, put in a comment, add some questions. As everybody knows, it helps with replays and getting in front of more eyes. But the other thing is, I want to know who is even paying attention to these things. The part of the problems with making content for social media is like for instance, I almost stopped doing my podcast 2 years ago. I was like, screw it. It takes a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. There's no payback on it. I'm just going to turn it off. And then Spotify bought from Anchor, because I used to host through Anchor. And then Spotify sent out a message that said, congratulations, your listenership is up 300%. And then coincidentally, I had gone to a big convention and some stranger started yelling my name, as I was leaving an after hours party thing. Kurt, is that Kurt? Are you Mañana No Mas? And I turn around and it's this lady. She says, oh my God, it is you. I've been listening to your podcast for years. It's so cool to finally meet you. And I was like, tell me this isn't happening. I was going to turn the podcast off. And now I've got a 300% increase in listenership and strangers at conventions yelling my name saying they've listened to the podcast for years. That's what happens with social. Like, you don't know who is paying attention. And it's really important to know who your audience is and get their feedback and those kinds of things. So if you want to type in the comments who you are, maybe where you're at, or any gold nugget you get out of today, that would be awesome. Right? At least that gives us some guidance as we're making content people like, or we want to change to different subject matter or something like that. For me personally, in my little space, we do a lot of business consulting with people. We help a lot of startups get launched. And then we dive into a lot of things that is, the online fingerprint of these startups and businesses. We also do a lot of enterprise work where we help people come from hugely expensive e-learning platforms, and we put them into a more budget conscious learning platform with more options, which sounds crazy, but that's how tech works, right? Tech works like, oh my goodness, if you're in early, you pay all the money. And then over time, we get actually more features for less money. And so there's a lot of enterprise e-learning products out there where companies are still paying, $500,000 a year to host an e-learning website. And obviously we can do that for pennies on a dollar at Mañana No Mas and actually improve the user experience. And so we reach out to a lot of enterprise folks about that kind of work as well. So let me go into my use case. My use case about AI here is I wanted to have an example to show you, and obviously help me, with something that I thought was very real world. So we moved to Kansas in 2024. No, we moved to Kansas in 2023. Yeah, we moved to Kansas in 2023, September 2023. So we escaped California and we got to Kansas 2023. It's hard to believe because when you say it like that, it sounds like forever ago, but we're really just in March right now. So we moved here, and I moved the Mañana No Mas agency from Southern California to Kansas. Now, right away, we, by God's grace and by serendipity, we got involved with Startup Hutch, which is a startup incubation kind of system here in Hutchinson, Kansas. So we got involved with them. They put us on a podcast that led to speaking at City Hall a couple of times. We started going to the Startup Hutch monthly meetings at Sandhills Brewery. And turns out the guy that owns Sandhills Brewery came from the WordPress industry. We ended up becoming fast friends because we work in WordPress. I was joking around about how there wasn't a WordPress meetup in Hutchinson, Kansas, and the one in Wichita had fizzled out during COVID. And I said we should just do a WordPress meetup here, right? And so the guy that owns Sandhills Brewery said, "Hey, if you file and win, from WordPress, the ability to do the WordPress meetup, you can host it right here. I'll give you the space." So now I have a space every month that I use. Doesn't cost me anything. It costs me time and commitment, right? But doesn't cost me any money. I host the WordPress meetup in Hutchinson, Kansas. And we have people coming from Wichita and Valley Center and, coming from a lot of areas around us to come to that WordPress meetup because we're the only WordPress meetup that meets in person in the area. So we get to do that, right? So I'm just giving you the backdrop of like what it was like to move from California to Kansas. So obviously there is some adjustment, right? So we're getting, and we're getting well known in the area, and we start meeting other developers in the area. Hutchinson is not a big city, but it's not a tiny town. It's got 40,000 people in it. So there's going to be other people that do web stuff. So sure enough, we start meeting some other web people in town. And then it hit me. I should ask AI And what I did was I took a copy of this. So I'm going to do a shared screen now that's going to go to like this infinity screen, and then I'm going to change it and it's going to go to a PDF. Hopefully that's going to work. So let's do this. I'm going to add it to the stage. We're going to see the infinity screen, but then I'm going to open up the PDF and you should be seeing the PDF. I hope that that's working on your end. So this is what I asked. I went to Grok. Grok is a new, Grok 3.0 is out. It's brand new. And I think it's really good. So I put, now here's the important part. I didn't say, hey, today, I didn't make this huge big prompt. What I'm using here is I'm thinking, how would a customer search AI? And people would say, oh, I'm not going to search with AI. But if you're on Facebook, you're searching with AI. If you're on Google, chances are you're going to search with AI because it's going to put that Gemini right up in front of your face, right? And so people think they're not going to use AI, but they are going to use AI, even if they don't realize they're using AI. So I went into Grok and I put, what is a good local source in Hutchinson, Kansas to get a website made? Now, bear with me, folks. I am being extremely transparent with you because I'm not recommended. So trust me, this is going to be a good exercise. So it says, if you're looking for a good local source in Hutchinson, Kansas to get a website made, there are several reputable options based on available information and local presence. Our standout choice is Conceptualized Design, a Hutchinson-based website design agency. They specialize in creating custom, high-performance websites using WordPress. Here's something funny. I don't even know these people. I don't even know who they are. I'm the one talking at City Hall. I'm the one with Startup Hutch doing things. I'm the one doing the business incubation program in town where they train 12 entrepreneurs at a time. I'm speaking on WordPress down at Sandhills once a month, and I don't even know who Conceptualized Design is. Okay, but they're number one in AI search. So this is important, right? This is important stuff. So they specialize in creating blah, 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 tailored to businesses, schools, and nonprofits. Their focus is on clean, functional designs with premium themes and plugins, all offered at affordable prices. They emphasize friendly customer service, blah, blah, blah. Another solid option is Selwyn Marketing, LLC. Also located in Hutchinson, they offer affordable website design starting at $750, along with hosting and ongoing maintenance. It says for a broader regional option with ties to Hutchinson, Layton 45 serves both Hutchinson and nearby Wichita. Now, Linda Layton owns Layton 45. And here's what I thought was interesting about this. She changed the name of Layton 45 a month before this search. Not a month, like 2 weeks before this search. So Layton 45 technically isn't even a thing now. Now it's like Design Pink or something like that. Super nice lady. I know her personally. She's a really nice lady. Says they focus on empowering small businesses with high quality, affordable website designs and digital marketing services. That's where I think there is a difference. I think that Linda actually does a lot with marketing services, like social marketing, social media, that kind of thing. Right? Their designs are secure, mobile responsive, and come with no recurring maintenance fees. Beyond an annual hosting cost of $300, which includes security updates and SSL certificates. They've worked on projects for businesses in Hutchinson, making them a reliable choice with local relevance. And then it does a kind of a thing there, right? It does like a summary in the next paragraph where it mentions the three companies. And then I wrote, if I could know what prevented Mañana No Mas from being on this list. Okay, so I asked AI a blank question, right? And then I gave it contradictory information, but I still didn't say who I was. I just said, if I could know what prevented Mañana No Mas from being on the list. And here's where it gets interesting. And this is the very transparent part of what I'm talking about. It says, it seems there might be some confusion with Mañana No Mas in the context of Hutchinson, Kansas website design companies. Based on the information available in my analysis, there's no clear evidence of a company or entity named Mañana No Mas operating as a website design service in Hutchinson, Kansas. This is important. For decades, we have designed websites and we have looked at the copy on our websites and been like, does this meet my customers' needs? Does this say what I do? But that's not how people are searching and finding our websites. right? So we have to figure, how do people search and find the website before we can even worry about the copy and the pictures and how it communicates to the customer? Okay. So if you really listen to what's happening here, I moved to Hutchinson in 2023. I already have this cool business. I transferred my agency from California to Kansas, and then I started meeting all these groups and doing the hard work physically. But digitally, my website wasn't meeting the needs of my community. This is important. It says, it seems there might be some confusion. I read all that. It says, as a design, okay, or anywhere else for that matter, that would warrant its inclusion in the list I provided. Here's how I arrived at this. First, Mañana no Más translates from Spanish, tomorrow no more, which could suggest a business name, a slogan, or even a project title. However, a search across web and X posts for Mañana no Más in relation to website design or Hutchinson, Kansas, yields no relevant results tied to a local service provider. And you know what? That's true. I blew it, right? If I'm trying to use local search engine optimization, I blew it, because I have projects all over the country. I have global projects. I have websites I've done outside the country, and I'm promoting this stuff. I got people up in Canada using this like crazy. So AI looks at my website and goes, oh, he's a Canadian web developer. I'm not a Canadian web developer. I'm here in Hutchinson. So, but that's my bad, right? So let's go through some more of this. It says, there's no mention of a company by that name offering website design in the area, nor does it appear in local business directories, reviews, or professional portfolios like those found on Yellow Pages, Bark, or other platforms listing Hutchinson-based web designers. Second, the companies I listed. Now, here's what's important, because now it's going to give me a comparison. Conceptualized Design, Selwyn Marketing, and Leighton 45 have verifiable local ties to Hutchinson with established reputations, websites, and client-facing services. Conceptualized Design is explicitly Hutchinson-based. Selwyn Marketing operates there with a focus on small businesses, and Leighton 45 serves the Hutchinson and Wichita areas with a clear track record. For Mañana no Más to be excluded, it would need to have a comparable presence or relevance that I might have overlooked, but no such evidence exists in the data I can access. Now, remember, Grok doesn't know it's me. I'm just a customer asking where to get a website made, okay? And if I'm going to be really, really honest, Mañana no Más isn't really actively selling itself as a website creator. We're a business consultant that leads to web development. And I know that that's a fine line, but that's what our marketing says. So it's understandable that Grok's like, I don't even know who you are, right? So it says it's possible Mañana no Más could refer to something unrelated, a blog, a defunct business, or even a misremembered name. For instance, there's a WordPress blog called Mañana no Más focused on, here we go, personal development. But it's not a web design service, nor is it tied to Hutchinson. Alternatively, it is a new or niche entity post-dating my knowledge update. It might not yet have a footprint significant enough to compete with established local players as of February 21st, 2025. So this is interesting. Now I'm going to tell it who I am, okay? And bear with me, folks. I'm going to go back to the screen and see if we have any comments coming in. We do have some comments. James says, howdy. Hopefully James is seeing. James, you know what, dude, I'm going to put your face up there on the screen. It's good to see you, man. Good to see you. Now, again, I'm being extremely transparent here, and hopefully you're still seeing the screen share. This is where I tell Grok who I am. I say, this is very insightful. Okay, so I'm trying to let the system know I think this is good information. I'm not going to argue with it. Okay, so I put, this is very insightful. Thank you. I'm the owner of Mañana no Más, and we moved to Hutchinson in 2023. I am tweaking our offering to be more specific on local startup web development and hosting, featuring WordPress tools for e-commerce, training, and community. I am doing this exercise to better understand how we could best represent ourselves online in an AI search world. Folks, this is so interesting. You know, 2 years ago, could you talk to AI this way? Like have a conversation where you're getting like real content back? Like you could ask it questions and you would get like these weird hallucinations coming back, right? Crazy answers. And if you remember a couple of years ago when AI came out, people would try to argue with it and confuse it. And you know, everyone's trying to prove it wrong. instead of trying to prove things wrong all the time, what if we try to optimize things for good? What if we try to optimize things for the power they provide? So I get pretty excited. I ask it this. Now, here's where it gets fun, right? This is where it starts helping me. It says, "It's great to hear from you. Directly as the owner of Manana no Mas, and I'm glad you found the previous response insightful. Since you've moved," let me turn off all that junk stuff from McAfee, right? There we go. "Since you moved to Hutchinson, Kansas 2023 and are refining your focus to local startup web development, hosting, and WordPress tools for e-commerce, training, and community." It's like boom, 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 boom. So now it's actually taking some of the phrasing from my website and it's starting to inject it into its answer, right? Because the question was about where can I get a website made? And now it's coming back with WordPress tools for e-commerce, training, community. So it knows who it's having a conversation with. Okay. So it says, "This is a perfect opportunity to explore how to position Manana no Mas effectively in an AI-driven search landscape. Let's break this down and tailor a strategy that reflects your goals and the unique value you bring to Hutchinson." And here's where it starts going. Why Manana no Mas might not have appeared initially. And it goes in and it tells me exactly why. It says, "When I first compiled the list, Manana no Mas didn't surface because, as a newer arrival, your online footprint might not yet have been established against these other players. AI search systems like me rely on heavily on visible digital signals, websites, local listings, reviews, and mentions." You'll notice each of these up here says 15 web pages. It is reviewing 15 different web pages to give me these answers. Okay. So it goes through here and it says all that. So then it says, positioning Manana no Mas in an AI search world. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's going to drive you a little bit crazy. But it says, clarify your niche online. Okay. What you do. You're targeting local startups with WordPress-based web development and hosting, specializing in e-commerce solutions, training, and fostering a community vibe. That's a powerful combo. Startups need affordable, scalable websites, hands-on guidance, and a sense of belonging. Yes. So here's where it gives me the words. It says, empowering Hutchinson startups with WordPress websites, e-commerce, and community support. This hits your key services and ties you back to the local scene. This is awesome. It's telling me exactly what to do. Okay. So it says, basically it says you should change your tagline on different social things. And it tells you that. It says leverage local signals. Geotagging. Ensure your website, Google business profile, and social media explicitly mention Hutchinson, Kansas. Saying things like serving Hutchinson since 2023 or Hutchinson's WordPress experts. Community tie-ins. Highlight your community focus. Maybe you host WordPress workshops. It knows that I do that, right? So it says maybe you host WordPress workshops. You should mention that. Mentioning local partnerships like the State Fair. It goes and tells you exactly what to do. Showcase your WordPress expertise, why it matters, right? WordPress powers over 40% of the web. Now that's interesting. I work in WordPress. I know that. But this is kind of a callback to common sense. How many small business owners, growing their business actually know the power of WordPress? Most of them don't. So I need to. My website needs to say, oh, hey, WordPress is a strong tool that's what we leverage the most. Bam, 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 right? So how to stand out. Gives me emphasize training and support. We offer all of our customers training and support packages. So yeah, emphasize training and support. Build a community narrative, right? Optimize for AI search, and it tells me some key features on how to optimize for AI search. It says use these keywords, use natural conversational phrases in your content. Affordable web hosting for Hutchinson startups. E-commerce websites in Hutchinson. Learn WordPress in Hutch. AI systems like me phrase these better than generic buzzwords. Perfect. Structure. It says keep your site simple. Clear headings, web development for startups, fast load times, a mobile-friendly design. Listings, claim your spot on local directories. So I have, for instance, I'm in the Hutch Chamber. I'm already in the Hutch Chamber of Commerce. So why am I not promoting that? So that's what it does. Here's a sample online pitch. It actually tells you what to write as a sample online pitch. It says why it works, next steps. Use local tags, use the Hutch Chamber when I'm on Instagram and things like that. So you see what's happening. This goes on and on and on. So it gives me all of this information. Let me see if I can get down to where it says measuring the tweak. Okay, since you're testing how to represent Manana no Mas in the AI search world, watch for these early signs. You're going to look for engagement. You're going to do a search test. In a week, ask me or Google the best web development startups, and a feedback loop. What's next? It says you're off to a killer start. Folks, this is cool stuff. Making it stick online. It is telling me exactly what to do, who to tag, who to talk to. Let me see. Here we go. This I thought was good. It says your tagline's a perfect hybrid. So AI test. It says in a week, ask me who's empowering Hutch startups with WordPress. If I say Manana no Mas, we've nailed it. Okay. Let me close this window because I feel like I'm spending too much time over here. And let's get rid of that. That's oof. Those infinity screens when you're doing your screen shares, those can be a little bit much. Let's do a let's close the screen share here, and I'm going to open up a new one for you. And I'm looking at the time, it's 10:29. I think we're doing good so far. I want to go into what we did. So let's go to the Manana no Mas homepage. Okay. So this is the first thing that I want to show with you. And what I'm going to do is I am going to turn off this overlay because as much as I think it's cool, it gets in the way. And I'm going to open this up more so that you can see it. And I'm also going to change and put me in this way. All right, let's take a look at comments here. James says, I wish my Chamber of Commerce had a better UI and allow me to add better content to my company page. I agree, dude. Some of these government-run websites, a lot of them were made way early in the game, and they're just not very good. Yeah. James says he paid too much and didn't get much out of it. I am, however, looking into other neighboring chambers. I had the exact opposite here in Hutchinson, Kansas. In Hutchinson, Kansas, the Chamber of Commerce, they sponsor these after-hours events, and I think because it was $300 to join the chamber, and I think I've almost broken even on beer that I've drank at these events. So I got to tell you, I'm really happy with the chamber. The first chamber event that I went to, I won $100. So I paid $300 to get in. I won $100 back at the first event. And then, like I said, I drank a lot of beer at the events. And then food is there. And I've made a ton of contacts. Hutchinson is a really, yeah, I agree, James. It is pretty funny. And it was good beer. IPAs, bro. IPAs. One of them was at a car dealership, and they had the beer that I love from Sandhills Brewery, which is Pippin Williamson's brewery. So, yeah, the beer was amazing. So let's take a quick look here at the Manana no Mas website. Now, this I made in bricks, and as we go down, you know, here's a sample of recent work, and these all link to recent jobs that we have done, right? So here I was going for like domain authority, and these are the types of like, this is a learning website. Here's my podcast. This was custom work we did in WooCommerce. You know, so these are just some different things, okay? We're all about the right fit, different ways to get started with Manana no Mas, and then beat your worst fears with Manana no Mas. So what are you noticing? I was going for local search results, and nothing here says, hey, come to Hutchinson, right? So as we go down, we've got some of my blog posts, and one of the things that AI recommended was do a blog post that focuses on Hutchinson businesses. So we opened up a blog post with Hutchinson businesses being right in the H1 title, level up your online presence with Manana no Mas, and then what do you know? We have a whole blog post that's focused strictly on web development and services for Hutchinson, Kansas. Okay, so that's one. And look at the date. That's when I did this, right? So I did the search February 21st, and I made the blog post February 21st. Next, empowering Hutchinson startups with WordPress websites, e-commerce, and community support. It's exactly what the AI recommended to put on the page. And we made this, I believe, an H2 title, right? So it'll be searchable. So H2, right? Empowering Hutchinson startups with WordPress websites, e-commerce, and community support. So we're following the guidelines that the AI gave. Now, I just went through those guidelines. It was a huge listing of things. So this is just a sampling of what was on that listing that I could do. The next thing, proud member of the Hutchinson Chamber of Commerce, right? And here's a picture of me in the Hutchinson Chamber. And then it says, Mañana No Mas hosts the monthly WordPress meetup, Hutchinson Meetings at Sandhills Brewery. Come join us. And if we click this link, it takes us to an external link with the meetup, right? So meetups are how WordPress meetups happen. I can't believe I'm saying it like that. It makes me sound like I'm a weirdo. But this will link us to an outside tab that shows that we are connected to this organization. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing what's happening there, and you're going, oh, well, that totally makes sense. Now, remember what it said about taglines on social media. So let's take a look at my LinkedIn. My LinkedIn says empowering Hutchinson startups with WordPress, e-commerce, and community based in Hutchinson, Kansas, serving the globe. I added the serving the globe part because I don't want to alienate people that are my national and international clients. If we go to take a look at the Mañana No Mas Facebook page, empowering Hutchinson startups with WordPress, e-commerce, and community based in Hutchinson, Kansas, serving the globe. And what do you know? We got the same thing on our LinkedIn. Not LinkedIn, on our X, right? And there we are. That's from last week. What is that? Join up. That's from yesterday. Oh my goodness. All right. And so as you can see, well, there we go. Now I put the right tab on there. As you can see, we're covering, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, our own website. We're going through and we're updating these things. These seem like super simple things to put into place, but when we take a look at what's really happening, what we are seeing is, and that looks horrible. So let's go back to the full image. So these seem like really simple, super easy tweaks. But again, that tagline it's not necessarily like, so if someone follows Mañana No Mas and they're on the Mañana No Mas page in Facebook and they've been there for 4 years, 5 years, 8 years, they don't even notice the tagline anymore, right? Because they're just going to the Facebook page to either ask a question, ask a support question for one of the sites we host, or to see one of the lives that we've posted or something like that, right? They're people that we have already got in the family. They're people that are already part of our association. So they don't even read the tagline anymore. People that I'm connected to in LinkedIn, let's be honest, if I've been connected to these 10,000 people in LinkedIn for any length of time, they're not looking at my tagline anymore. Okay, so we're talking about new people. We're talking about fresh eyes that come and they see that and go, oh, look at that. But that's not even who our target audience is anymore. Our target audience is someone picks up their cell phone, right? And on Google, when you search now, chances are you're going through Gemini, or you're going through Llama, or you're going through, because Meta has Llama and that's connected to Facebook and Instagram. My point here is a lot of our search now isn't like, it's not direct browser-based search like what we have become accustomed to for the last couple of decades. It is AI infused. That's the best way I can say it. So I want to have all of these properties, right? Remember what the AI said. We asked it a question. Where do I go in Hutchinson to get a website made? And it went to 15 different websites to gather its information. So it went to LinkedIn, and it went to Facebook, and it went to X, and it went to the online yellow pages. You saw that. It goes to all of these places, and it does a quick search, and then it says, well, I recommend these 2 or 3. It doesn't say, let me look at all the websites hosted by Mañana No Mas and then do a quick breakdown on which ones have the best accessibility numbers. And let me do another breakdown on how many of those websites are e-commerce, how many of those websites are community, how many of those websites are LMS based, how many of those websites. It's not doing that. It is throwing out a net for information, in microseconds, looking at 10, 15 websites, and it's coming up with aggregated opinion based on what those websites say. And so when we take a look at what voice search is giving us, I'm going to call it voice search because a lot of us are talking into our phones. that's what we're getting, right? We're getting an AI response. And so we want to know what AI is looking at. And so when we take a look at, you know what, I got to catch up with James. He's got me here. He says, boom, I will pay for the after hours events and Connect. Morning network events are free, however. Oh yeah, yeah. The coffee's good, but the beer is better. Nice SEO structure. Master social maven here. Dude, I appreciate that. That is cool. I have been reviewing how do you juggle the time. Let's be real, because that's what this whole talk is about, James. It's about juggling the time. So if I were to do all of this on my own, if I were to not have AI and I were to try to figure this out, because that's the way we used to do it, man. Like, I've been doing this since 2004, you know, working in WordPress and going through all the evolutions of WordPress and all the iterations and all the things. And it was always trial and error. It was like, well, let's try this title. Let's try this. Let's try. And search used to be easy. You used to build a website and people would come to your website. You used to make a Facebook fan page and people would sign up and join it. It's not like that anymore. There is such a flood and a competition for people's attention that now you really have to set yourself apart. You have to hit all the buttons to get people to, you know, begin to come your way a little bit. It's so much harder now than it was, you know, 2006. So, which is, of course, that's 19 years ago. So as all things evolve and develop. And so when you say, how do you juggle the time? This exercise in Grok, doing this local SEO thing, if we did this without AI, we'd be working on this for 30, 60, 90 days, right? We would make some changes. We would review our results in 30 days. We would make some more changes, right? We'd adjust the rudder, right? And see if the boat changed direction at all. And we would take a look at our analytics. Remember, Google Analytics. And by the way, I hate Google Analytics. But anyway, we would look at all these things, right? How many impressions, how many hits, how many click-throughs, how many this, how many that. And then we would tweak things again. And then we would look at it, you know, in 60 days and in 90 days. And it would be this constant, like always like this weird battle, this ebb and flow of like, hey, how is this really looking? How is this working? Like, we think we know our avatar. We think we know how our customers make buying decisions. We think we understand our ecoscape, but realistically, we're guessing, right? But now we have a tool where the guesswork kinda isn't really guessing anymore, because as people search, these tools are going to be directing people what to go see. And so if we understand how these tools direct people what to go see, and we ask those tools for advice on how to do better within their systems, they're going to share with us how to do better within their systems. And so when I say, you know, hey, here's my personal journey with AI, I wanted to make sure that I came to the topic, not like, and I love Matt Medeiros. I think Matt Medeiros is a genius. You know, he's the godfather of podcasting in the WordPress space. I mean, the guy's great, but he was doing these episodes a month or 6 weeks ago talking about, hey, I made a plugin with AI, and that's a whole different channel. That's a whole different thing. What I wanted to talk about in my personal journey with AI was last week when we started talking, I said, this is how I use AI to you know, help me figure out what topics I should write about. This is how I use AI to figure out what kind of topics I could make podcasts about. This is how I get suggestions from AI to expand those topics into outlines and then review those outlines as a human being, right? Put that organic quality back in. So this is how I review those topics as a human being and augment the results, right? And then this is how I expand those outlines. This is how I expand those ideas into narrative content. You know, this is how I convert a video into a blog post. So for instance, I'm doing this video right now. There's going to be a transcript of that video. That transcript is going to be converted into a blog post summary. And so there's going to be a blog post on the Mañana No Mas website that's going to have this video with a blog post summary of what's in the video, right? And then people say, oh, well, AI is going to be penalized in your search results. Well, what I'm looking for is domain authority on a topic. My domain authority in this case is going to be on the use of AI. So it's my video, it's my speaking, it's my transcript. So that's not AI. And then having the AI generated summary of my own words, that's not really going to be a penalty, if you gather what I'm saying. If I was to have AI write an outline and write the content and just copy and paste that in without making any changes or modifications to it, then AI might flag that and say, oh, this is an AI piece. You tracking how this is working? We want to understand how are the systems working. And so today, as part 2, I wanted to show you how to really get a return on investment by using these tools and having conversations with these tools in a way that generates results, that gives you a pathway to success. I'm sure that over the next 3 months or 6 months, I might come back at AI again, and I might do a follow-up to this, and I might say, oh, I can't believe it. Now I can do this. Now I can do that. Now I can do the other things. In the podcast that I've done with Jonathan Denwood on the Membership Machine Show and on the WP Tonic Show, we have covered at least 30 different AI tools. And so when I come to you and say, here's my personal journey with AI, I want to make sure that I come at it from a layman's perspective. I don't want to come at it like, hey, here's the 30 tools that I analyzed and looked at. No, I want to make this really, really simple for people to get started. Grok, the latest version of Grok, is really, really good. I don't find a lot of hallucinations in it. I don't find a lot of favoritism to odd ideals. I find it to be pretty straightforward. So I think it's a really good source of information for folks. And then I want to be super, super clear. I shared it with you before, but I'm going to share it with you again just because I think it's a really, really cool tool. Where did I go? I got lost. Here we go. Add to stage. This is this Magi tool. Magi is interesting because I'm going to take it back to my dashboard, not what I'm doing here. I'm going to take it back to my dashboard. And what we can see here is Magi. Yep. So I'm going to start a new chat. And as I start a new chat, it's going to give me the option to pick whatever AI tool I want to use. So, do I want to use Claude, DeepSeek, Gemini, GPT, Grok, Llama, Nova, Perplexity? Folks, this is cool. And yes, it is a paid service. Yes, you get, I think the base program is 100,000 words a month that you can generate. But look at what this does. If 1x is the multiplier, well, then if I use Claude, I get 100,000 words a month. But if I use DeepSeek, I get 200,000 words a month because it's a multiplier. If I use Gemini 2.0, I get 1 million words, right? Because it's a 0.1. And so if you take a look at this, there's different ways to use the different versions. So as you get more comfortable with the AI tools, like if I want to use Llama 3.2, I get 1 million words. If I want to use Llama 3.14, I get what is that? That's 200,000 words, right? And so you see what I'm talking about here. Just because you're paying to use the AI doesn't mean you're going to go broke. A lot of people are afraid of the pricing models because they say to themselves, "Oh my goodness, if I sign up as this paid thing and it's based on usage, what if I go over? What if I get a surprise bill for $9,000?" Realistically, that's not going to happen. And like tools like Magi give you a usability report. So you can go in there anytime that you want, not usability, usage. So you can click on usage and it'll tell you right there, hey, you've used 5,000 words so far. You've used 15,000 words so far. And you've got 100,000 word bank, right? So then you go, oh, and then they actually have a section of their site that says, what does 100,000 words provide? What does 500,000 words provide? What does 1 million words provide? And it gives you kind of a breakout, right? Like if I have 100,000 words, that could be 15 blog posts and something else on average of what I would create with that word bank. And so I think Magi is really worth taking a look at because the variety of tools that you can use all in one place, all in one dashboard. You don't have to remember where you did things or where you didn't. Grok is one of my favorites. I signed up for Grok as part of getting the blue check mark in X, but just last week Elon Musk said, no, I'm just going to release Grok for free. People can have it. And so I think that's a really good one to play with. And then when you, like I said in the first episode of my AI journey, I really think that like for video work, if you're doing stuff like I'm doing right now, and you want to do like shorts and snippets, and you want to really speed that process up, because now again, we're back on James's question, how do you juggle the time? I make the videos, I let Opus Pro do the clips. And I know I can go into Opus Pro, and I showed you guys last week, you can edit the clips, you can edit the taglines, you can edit all these things. But realistically, if I speak for 30 minutes and it gives me 20 clips, I'm gonna get 8 or 10 that I think are good, and I'm gonna take those 8 or 10, I'm gonna schedule them out, and then I save all the video clips in another folder somewhere. I could be more active. I could put more time into it, but to James's point, I'm a business owner and I have other things to do. So I need to monitor how I spend my time, and I can't get distracted by all the shiny baubles, right? I have a goal that I'm trying to get to, and AI is simplifying the tasks to get me to that goal more quickly. So that's how I'm juggling the time. So I make these videos, the transcript creates a summary post for me. So I'm not putting up transcripts of my videos, I'm putting up summary posts of those transcripts of my videos. I want to be really clear, like how this is working, right? And then it's a video that I made, right, on a topic that is relevant, because AI is telling me what topics are relevant based on the business I'm trying to build. And then from that local SEO perspective, I am using the clues that AI gave me to say, hey, how come you recommended these 3 businesses, but you didn't recommend this one? And then after it gives me the answer, I say, well, that's interesting because I own that business and I want to know how I can compete with those original 3. And that's when AI really opens up. AI is like, oh, well, now we can do this. So what do you think I do? I implement those things that I showed you, those taglines, the blog post, inserting those things into my homepage about Hutchinson, Kansas. Now we wait a week or 2, we go back into AI, and then we do the same search. We take the same exact question and we throw it up there. And it's going to probably recommend those other 3 companies again. And I'm going to say, how can I recommend Mañana No Más? And then it's going to tell me, but the answer is going to be a little bit different because now we've made some tweaks, right? And then I'm going to tell it, hey, it's me again. We worked on this last week. You made these suggestions to me. I executed on these suggestions. What are the next 3 or 4 steps I could take to rank higher? And it's going to go, oh, you could do this, 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 and this. And then it's just going to be a thing. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to get me where I want to be. And if I execute correctly, and this is very important, if my competition gets lazy and complacent with their current ranking, and I am working in the background to compete against them and increase my ranking, it's not going to take very long before I escalate past them. Now, if they're doing the same thing I'm doing, maybe we're going to get into a little bit of a battle. But here's the deal. Folks, don't get discouraged. Stick with me on this. Even if all the companies are doing the battle, we're all going to get recognized. So instead of recommending 3 companies, it would recommend 4. It would say there are 4 top performers in Hutchinson, Kansas to get a website made. It would be the Conceptualized, whatever their name was, Leighton 45, Selwyn, and Mañana No Más. Now, the obvious question is going to come up, and I'm just going to hit this one right away. A lot of people have asked me over time, they say, Kurt, you call yourself Mañana No Más. You're not Hispanic. Where does this come from? Why don't you change your name? Because even AI was like, your name is Mañana No Más. You're in Hutchinson, Kansas. That's from Spanish. And so there is confusion there. I know that. But I founded this business in New Mexico, and a large customer base of mine was Hispanic. And the messaging was a little Hispanic in nature, if I'm going to be true. And it wasn't cultural appropriation. It was the story. The story is a good story. I'm not going to waste time here telling it now because I have to be somewhere else really soon. But it's a really good story. And as we launched, the name got really popular. And so now if you do a web search for Mañana No Más, you get pages and pages and pages and pages of Mañana No Más stuff. We are so well branded as Mañana No Mas, and we're recognized nationally, internationally. I speak on podcasts. I use the name everywhere. And so for us to make a name change and start over when we don't yet have the customer base that I think we should have, that would be too far of a step negative for me to go. So I'm going to keep the name Mañana No Mas, but I have to do a better job of integrating that name into my local area. So that's what I'm working on. Folks, I sure hope that you have found some value in what we're talking about today. This to me is a big, big, big topic. AI is scary. AI is intimidating. AI is one of these things that the more people talk about it, the more people that don't use it get like, oh God, I could never catch up. And it's not like that. I want to encourage you to sample some things, to get in and try some things. Go to OpenAI and try a free search. Go to Grok and try a free search. Come at it like I just showed you how to do it. Ask it questions about your own business, but from the perspective of a customer looking to do business in your segment, right? And then ask it some questions. Say, hey, who would you recommend? Like if you're a hardware store, what's the best hardware store in town? And it's going to say Ace Hardware this and Lowe's and Home Depot. And then you're going to be like, how come you didn't mention me? And then, but don't say, how come you didn't mention me? Just say, how come you didn't mention ABC Hardware? And then it's going to say, oh, well, we mentioned Lowe's and Home Depot for their franchise recognizability. We recommended Ace Hardware because of its local, franchise model, blah, 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 blah. ABC Hardware was referred because of XYZ, or wasn't referred because of XYZ. And then that's when you say, well, I am the owner of ABC Hardware. How can I better compete for AI search against these other ones that you have listed? And that's where it's going to give you a wealth of information on how to adjust your messaging so that people can find you. Remember, we've all been making websites for decades. Like, we want to make a website that's pretty, that people see, that the design is nice, that, and then we start working about, headlines and sub-headlines and content. And we, how do we address people that get to the website? But we have to start thinking about what's on our website and what's on our other tools that funnel people to that, to even see it in the first place. And that's what SEO is all about. And while some people say SEO is dead, this type of SEO is really new. So that's a wrap up. We've done my personal journey with AI parts 1 and part 2. I think that's it for this series. Feel free, ask me questions, put in comments. If you want links, if you want demonstrations, whatever, maybe we'll do some follow-ups to this. But for today, that is it. Have yourself a great week. Finish strong. God bless. Know that I wish nothing but success for you. And if you need us, go to mañananomas.com, click the book a call button, get 30 minutes with me. And after that 30 minutes, we'll figure it out. Like, did you just have some questions and I can put you on your way? Great. If there's a business relationship to be had, we'll discuss it on the call. No pressure. Have yourself a great day. Love you. Cheers.